Hello, welcome to Adventures with Mary. I'm Mary. This is Bella. Bella brings the vibes. I do the apping. I started my channel in 2022, filming 100 vlog style videos in 100 days. Shortly after the vlog era, my personal life was kind of ever evolving and changing, and I kind of didn't want that on the internet, and I also didn't know how to get on camera again and film some fun little videos when my life was kind of falling apart in the background. So I took a 2-year break from creating content on YouTube, but in 2025, I'm trying to create consistent content again. And how I've chosen to do that is by filming podcast style videos once a month, talking about health, finances, relationships, travel, goals and milestones, and how those topics relate to me as a girl navigating her mid to late 20s. I also left organized religion this year after coming to the realization that the concepts I've been raised with since childhood were not beliefs that I actually held. And I've started on this wonderfully curious journey, discovering the world and what I believe in. If that's something that interests you, feel free to subscribe, leave a like, join the journey. I upload a new video every first Monday of the month. And you can also click the notification bell after you subscribe to get a notification every time I upload a new video. If you're not ready to commit to a subscription, please feel free to leave a like. That way my video has a better chance at getting picked up by the algorithm. If you're a returning viewer, welcome back. Really lovely to have you again. Thank you so much for your continued support. It does not go unnoticed. And without further ado, let's jump right in to our October episode. If you're familiar with the song that goes, I get knocked down, but I get up again. You're never gonna keep me down. I think it's by Thumbawamba or something like that. But I feel like that was just like the kind of energy I felt like I was channeling this month, between getting my yearly review at work and navigating different personalities at work and taking on more responsibility and just the general overall feeling of what it's like navigating your mid to late 20s and the relationships that come along with that, and the new parts of you that you get to learn about, and the new experiences that you have. I just feel like I don't know who I am. I don't know what the future holds. I'm trying to discover my identity as a girl in her 20s. Sometimes you get knocked down, and I feel like I've gotten knocked down a few times this month, but I feel like I've gotten up like pretty gracefully. Like anything that October has hit me with, I'm just like, okay, like we're gonna move on. It's gonna be fine. So Bella has also been really cuddly recently, almost clingy in a way that I've never seen her act before. She learned how to open doors with her nose, and she comes into my bedroom every time I go in. Even if I'm just like running in to grab something, she follows me in, she like pushes the door open with her nose. She's just been so cuddly and so clingy and likes being around me. And honestly, I don't know, it just makes me happy. I just love my dog. She's sitting right here, actually, if you want to see. Just hanging out next to me. We're gonna jump into our first topic, which is health. I've been in weekly therapy for most of the last 3 years, but I've been thinking about moving to every other week recently. I just feel like for the first time in a very long time, I don't have any crazy, earth-shattering life changes, trauma, unpacking that I'm going through. And I think I could maybe benefit from spacing out therapy a little bit more. I've been going to Run Club a little bit more often. I really love the community. It's a very like informal, come if you can, all ages, all paces, everyone welcome, and it's such a wonderful, positive community. I've been going pretty consistently this year, and so every time I go, I recognize some faces, I meet some new people. It's just been a really overwhelmingly positive outlet for me. I've been trying to eat balanced, but also I've been including pasta in my diet recently. I've been trying to eat all the food I have and not let any of it go to waste. So I've been getting more creative at the end of like my grocery haul with what food I have and like like what I'm making. I've been trying to go to yoga more often. We're kind of like in between yoga instructors right now because the Wednesday instructor broke his foot, and so they like haven't been having yoga recently, but I've been trying to go and just get that like midweek Wednesday little mind reset, and so that's been really nice. And I've been in a good routine of going to the gym 3 times a week. It's usually Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Getting home and taking my dog for a walk and just staying really active. After being out of the gym most of the summer, it's really nice to be able to get back into the gym and trying to establish that routine again. Okay, so finances is really something, let me just say. This entire year I've been trying to pay off my credit card. My approach for paying off the credit card has mostly been fueled through babysitting gigs. Anytime I babysit, the money I make goes directly to the credit card. Over the summer, the babysitting gigs really slowed down, and I've been trying to accept new clients and try to really work on that hustle again. It's been going really slow. I also had my car break down twice. My car was in the shop 3 times in the span of 2 weeks. First, it was just routine maintenance. Less than a week after that, it broke down. I broke an axle. It was $150 to tow it, and then another $850 to fix the axles, and then again, less than a week after that, it broke down again and it needed a new starter. And so I spent over $2,000 in the span of 2 weeks on my car. Luckily, I didn't have to put any of the maintenance on the credit card. I was able to completely cover the payments. That definitely set me back a bit. It was financially painful. A couple months ago, I was trying to budget using the Every Dollar app. I just have a really hard time with budgeting. And so I think I'm gonna try to open up a second bank account. That way I can kind of organize my finances a little bit differently. It's definitely a work in progress. My goal for the year for 2025 has been to pay off my credit card, and we've talked about this a million times. It is not happened yet. So I think it's just one of those things that I'm not good at, and I just need to accept that I'm not good at it, really sit in that place of not excelling at it until I get to a place where I can be good at it. This month for relationships, I wanted to talk about body image. There's not a lot going on in the romance side of my life at the moment. Not a whole lot of first dates, not a whole lot of prospects. I barely even have a crush on anyone right now. So instead, I wanted to talk about body image. Before we discuss anything in this section, I did want to just kind of put a little disclaimer. I am talking about body image and some disordered eating and things like that. So if that's something that you're not comfortable in, I will put the timestamp on the screen. You can skip forward if you want. Recently, I experienced a slight fluctuation in my weight, and it got me thinking just a lot about body image and how I see myself, and the idea that the thinner we are, the more valuable we are. My senior year of high school, I was going through just like a lot of personal trauma, and it was like one of the top 3 most stressful points in my life, I think. And when it came to food, I just like did not have an off switch, and then it made me scared that I was going to gain weight. I was weighing myself on the scale 3+ times a day, and I didn't even quite remember that until I read some of my old journals. But my most recent fluctuation with my weight, my first thought was, I need to change this immediately. I need to go back to what I was. And I was a teen during the 2010s, during the end of the Victoria's Secret Angels era. And while I was like very sheltered growing up, I did still like internalize these ideas that my value is held in being thin. And I think especially as we're in this era of Instagram fitness influencers and Ozempic and a thin body being the ideal again, I think that there can be this idea that thin equals more value. And that's actually not true at all. So in light of all of that, I've been looking around more recently at people and just realizing how every single person's body is different. Every body is different. When my weight fluctuates and I think I need to change that immediately, I need to go back to what I was, where is that idea coming from? Where did that ideal body come from? Like, why do I need to do that? I've really just been trying to like deconstruct this idea that there's this perfect body type and I need to fit into it. I'm also almost 6 foot tall, so even if I walk into a room with 100 other people, I'm gonna be on the taller side. So I don't fit in to the little teeny tiny body type as it goes. I'm built bigger, I'm taller. So I've just been working on being more accepting of my body and loving myself as I am and giving myself the space to grow and change and evolve, both physically and mentally. And another really big thing is clothes are meant to fit you. You are not meant to fit clothes. So if you fit into a large, if you fit into an extra large, if you're an extra small, that's okay. Sizes are just sizes and they vary across clothing lines. It doesn't matter what size you are. There's no inherent value in being a different size than anyone else. So that's my little spiel on relationship with your body. Oh my goodness. This month, travel and entertainment is so packed. We're gonna start with travel and then move to entertainment and the content we've been consuming. This month I went to Vermont. I stayed in Montpelier for 2 nights. 2 years ago in October of 2023, I was traveling to Vermont and I stopped in Montpelier to grab some groceries and some food before I got to my Airbnb. And when I stopped there, I kind of looked around and I was like, I really want to come back here someday. This trip was really kind of full circle for me because when I took that trip 2 years ago to Vermont, it was my first like real solo trip, launching out onto this like solo traveling journey. It was also at this point in my life where I felt like I was finally waking up. Taylor Swift has a lyric in her song Daylight where she says, I've been sleeping so long in a 20-year dark night and now I'm wide awake. And that's what I feel like that first trip in October of 2023 was like. I had just started waking up out of this 20-year dark night. I was just like coming into myself, learning who I was. And this trip in Vermont kind of started that solo traveling era of my life. And being able to go back and go to this place that I had wanted to go to for so long was so just like full circle for me. And it was also really fun because I met some really fun locals and I hiked a mountain and I really just felt like I had such a lovely change of scenery for the weekend. And I do have a vlog for that coming out in a couple of weeks, so stay tuned. And for entertainment, I started reading To Kill a Mockingbird by Harper Lee on audiobook on YouTube. I started the book as I was descending the mountain in Vermont. It had taken me 2 hours to climb to the top and I was ready to get the heck off that mountain. So I put on the audiobook and I started listening. So far it's been a really good book. I'm almost halfway through. There was a quote pretty early on in the book that really struck me that I think feels slightly relevant to our 2025 America, and I wanted to share it on here. And the quote goes, sometimes the Bible in the hand of one man is worse than a whiskey bottle in the hand of another. They are just some kind of men who are so busy worrying about the next world, they've never learned to live in this one. And you can look down the street and see the results. I thought that was a really powerful quote. I've been watching The Good Place on Amazon Prime. It's been really interesting so far. I just got through season 1 and I'm on season 2. It's a very visual and digestible commentary on ethics and philosophy, as well as good and bad, and the afterlife versus your actions on earth, and how people can change and how people can grow based on different influences around them and different motivations and things like that. Very interesting so far. I think there are only 5 seasons, so I think I'll be finished with it by the end of the year. And then I've been listening to a new podcast called Deconstructing Mamas, and I've only listened to a couple of episodes, but I think it's been very interesting so far. The podcast piqued my curiosity because one of the first reasons why I kind of started my own deconstruction journey was when I realized that I wasn't sure that I'd be able to teach my own children the beliefs that I'd held because I wasn't sure I believed in them. And so hearing some mothers who have like deconstructed parts of their faith and their religion, talking about it online has been like really helpful and really healing for me. I listened to 2 episodes. I started listening to episode 4 called Snakes Don't Talk with Peter Enns, but I don't think I finished it. And I listened to episode 53, I Might Be Wrong, with Zach Hunt. And I actually wanted to share a quote from Mark Twain that Zach Hunt actually shared in the podcast. It's about traveling. Travel is fatal to prejudice, bigotry, and narrow-mindedness. Broad, wholesome, charitable views of men and things cannot be acquired by vegetating in one little corner of the earth all of one's lifetime. I thought that was a really interesting quote, not only just for the travel and entertainment part of this, but also I think I've also experienced that as you travel and you get to see different people of different ideas and walks of life and experiences, it really does open your mind up to bigger ideas. And then for music, I've been listening to The Life of a Showgirl by Taylor Swift, which came out at the beginning of the month. I've also been listening to Lainey's new album called Soft. They have a song, I think it's track 6 on the album, called Act My Age. It's very relatable to my life right now. After the first listen of this track, I was like, I need a minute. Like, how did you know to write a song about exactly what I'm going through in life right now? The song goes, where I'm from, you fall in love, you get a job and settle down. Where I'm from, you go to church, don't question what they talk about. Who you are at 22 is everything you'll ever be. Growing up means giving up. Everybody's giving up on me. All of my friends back home got married while I'm still going on first dates. Sometimes I wonder what I'm missing. What does it mean to act my age? What does it mean? Where do I go? Somebody tell me, I'm dying to know. That hit home for me. It low-key felt like a warm hug and just like, it's okay. Not everyone in life has it figured out. Your 20s are just like this really crazy part of your life where everyone's in different stages. I can open Facebook on my phone. Someone's getting married, someone's running a marathon, someone got engaged, someone's getting a PhD, and we're all just like in these different stages. Let's talk about our last section, goals and milestones. A goal for November is I really want to run a turkey trot. It's been a few years since I ran a 5K on Thanksgiving, and I think I'm going to do that this year. I also talked a few months ago about wanting to go church hopping. Like I mentioned earlier in the video, I left organized religion this year, but I also recognized that the view of Christianity and Catholicism that I had was extraordinarily narrow. I want to experience different flavors of Christianity to have a more well-rounded view. While I have deconstructed past what I believe to be the point of no return, I value knowledge and education and well-rounded, balanced ideas. So I went to church in Vermont, and it was actually just so lovely. I stayed in this Airbnb in downtown Montpelier. The church was within walking distance, and it was just this lovely, like, ritualistic wake up, get ready for church, walk there. There's something that can be really comforting about sitting in a church with other people worshiping, and that was a step for me in the direction of meeting my goal of having a more well-rounded view of Christianity. And overall, it was a really positive experience. Now, this very, very last section, we saved the most tea for last year. If you read the title of this video, I'm talking about leaving a cult, and it's not the one you think. A lot of people who know me in real life probably think I'm talking about the church that I left, and that's not what I'm talking about today. On October 22nd, 2020, I made the decision to move to Syracuse, New York, and I picked out the day that I was going to move. That was a really big choice for me, and for you to understand some of the context behind that little milestone for me, I need to explain some of my childhood background. I grew up in an environment that can be considered to be like a single family cult. There's an American mental health professional named Dr. Hassan, and he has this model called the BITE model of authoritarian control. BITE stands for behavior, information, thought, and emotion. And the model explains how these 4 types of control are used to exploit and maintain control over individuals. The BITE model can be used to kind of guide individuals to understand what the signs are that you might be in a cult. My childhood checks enough of the boxes on that list to reasonably, I think, be considered to be a single family cult. The reason why October 22nd is so important to me is because whenever you leave a cult, there are costs associated. Sometimes these costs are actually what keep people in a cult. For me, one of the costs I had to pay was a relationship with my younger siblings. I'm the oldest of 7, so making the decision to leave meant that I was exercising agency over my own life, and it meant that I was no longer under that influence of authoritarian control. Oftentimes when you leave a system of authoritarian control, there's usually a narrative that's created around the event. What that narrative usually does is it alienates the person who left, and it creates this idea that this person is bad or dangerous. And that narrative protects the people still in the group from thinking that they can leave too. And that was definitely something that I experienced by leaving my family. Even though my experience leaving was as peaceful as I could make it, I was kind of just choosing myself, and I was choosing to live life on my own terms because the environment I grew up in was so authoritarian. There was a narrative created around the event that was me leaving, and it makes reconnecting with my youngest siblings really hard because there's this perceived idea that I am a dangerous person. There's a lot of me that still grieves the relationship that I don't have with my younger siblings, but it was kind of like putting on my own life vest first. I couldn't stay there, and I had to be out of reasonable driving distance of the area. And it took me a long time to gain a sense of self. It took me a long time to gain control of my own thoughts. Something I value most in life today is the ability to think for myself. Sometimes I feel like being immersed in this thought-stopping, manipulative environment my entire life has stunted some of my growth and left me a little bit naive to the world around me. And especially now that I'm going through this shift in understanding of the world around me and shift in perspective and deconstruction of my faith, there's a quote that's attributed to G.K. Chesterton that comes to mind a lot, and he says, "Don't be so open-minded that your brains fall out." And I've been thinking about that a lot recently. There's this vulnerability in saying I don't know, and I think that there's even more vulnerability in sitting in that space of complete unknowingness. It's one thing to say I don't know, and it's another thing to be just sitting 24/7 every single day in this space of I actually don't know. I don't know how I got here. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what I'm living for. I actually don't know. I spoke with a friend this month. I've known her for about 4 years. I was in her wedding last October, and we had a conversation over the phone this month. I see her as like a big sister. She converted to Catholicism probably 3 years ago. I talked to her about my experience leaving, and something I asked her was, "Are you disappointed in me?" The reason I asked that, I think, is because the experience I've had with a lot of people who have left organized religion is this very judgmental idea that they didn't want to follow the rules, that they were too prideful, things like that. And her answer was so interesting to me. She said, "I think you're looking for peace." I feel like crying just thinking about that. We had a lovely discussion about finding peace outside of a system that's brought a lot of trauma and pain. It was really healing for me. So kind of bringing it back to the beginning here, it's been 5 years since I made that decision to leave. I just want to hold space for that 22-year-old Mary who somehow subconsciously knew it was time to go and was able to get herself out of that environment. Obviously, the costs are still being paid, but that's my story. So thank you for listening. And that is all we have to talk about this episode. If you've gotten all the way to the end, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure having you. If you've enjoyed anything that I've said today, please consider subscribing or at least leave a like. And I will be back next month for a brand new episode or journal entry or whatever you want to call it. Again, thank you so much for watching. Keep being awesome. I love you, and I'll see you next time.